All right. Well, happy Saturday. What is it, Saturday? No, it's Sunday. Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane, the January 22nd, 2023 edition, 221st edition of Speaking of Zane. Good to have everybody in there tonight. Daryl's in there, Lori's in there, Ken's in there, Carl's in there. All right. So we got Missouri, Florida, Missouri. 2 Floridas and 2 Missouris in here tonight. So how about that? Okay. Well, let's see. What do we got going on here? Might be a quick one tonight. Not very many updates. Actually, Lori is in Florida. I mentioned last week that she was going down to My Warriors Place where she was participating in the Forever a Warrior program. And I know she's in the chat, so maybe she'll put some comments in there. I didn't think to ask her to join live, but she's having some trouble connecting to the internet out there anyway. So maybe you have to wait a week or so and we can hear if she wants to share about the weekend. And she's staying out there, I guess, through the rest of this week down there in Ruskin, Florida. She, let's see, she went down there she left here on Wednesday. Tuesday night, she had, I mentioned this, I think, last week. She had her first meeting of a local grief support group that she's trying to start here for our neighborhood. Our neighborhood's called Bitwater. And turns out there's a bit of interest in folks that would like to get together with other folks and share things about the grieving process. And she had her first meeting with a few people the other night before she left for Florida. And looks like she'll be down there for, I think, through the first. There's Matt Aaron, Jim Miller. Welcome, everybody, to Speaking of Zane, 221st edition of Speaking of Zane. Matt, what do you think about this shirt, buddy? Pretty cool, huh? I got it from the from 369 Family Support Group or something. They had something on their Facebook page about ordering these shirts, and I got one there. I'll show you the back. Can you see that, Matt? Speed and Power. That was for everybody else. That was Zane's unit, 369 of the 3rd Infantry Division, Rock of the Marne. I got that just in the mail yesterday. All right. Well, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Oh, I just got home yesterday. Actually, I was out of town. Lori left on Wednesday, and I left on Wednesday. I flew up to St. Louis for work, and was there till last night, Saturday night. I stayed Saturday. Let's see. Thursday, I presented to a group of about 250 high schoolers there at our global headquarters building, and then I'm mentoring a team of high schoolers, science, technology, engineering focused teenagers, and we gave them a problem to solve over the next month, and I'm their mentor. So I got to spend a few hours with 10 high schoolers and their 2 teachers, and it was quite fun. It really was. And I'll spend an hour or 2 a week with them over the next month or so, virtually, and help them come up with this solution to a problem we presented them all with. It's a competition. There's like 22 or 23 high schools competing for like a $10,000 grant from my company. But anyway, it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And I love talking to people, so it doesn't bother me to be in front of a crowd of 300 and tell our company story. And it was just a lot of fun. I did that on Friday. And Thursday, I went out to our warehouse operation, and I've got a little project that my team's going to be doing out there. So I've been doing a little pre-planning. And then Saturday, I stayed to help do some interviewing, actually, representing our veterans organization at work. And they enlisted me to do some interviewing. So there's about 20 of us interviewing for a bunch of our supply chain openings. And we had 170 or 180 people show up at the job fair. It was kind of cool. Anyway, I got home last night, and let's see what else we got going. I don't know if my dad's in here, but hey, Dad, I saw that you registered for the 5K. So my dad, my sister, and my nephew Cody, who's in the Army, are going to come up for the Running to Honor 5K in July. So that'll be a lot of fun. So they're on team. Speaking of Zane, let's see. I'll be going back to St. Louis already. I'm going back. I mentioned I got a little project I'm working on with my team over the next couple of months, and it's going to take me back and forth to St. Louis a pretty good bit. And right away again next Sunday night. So we probably will not have, speaking of Zane, next Sunday. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be traveling back to St. Louis on Sunday. And I think, is that Super Bowl Sunday? I haven't been watching the NFL for some time now, but I think it might be Super Bowl Sunday. But anyway, I'm going to have a bunch of my team in St. Louis. We've got a special project that we're doing there. So I need to go there, get it kicked off so that I can cycle a group of 10 through every week for about the next 8 or 10 weeks. All right, let's see. So Daryl, man, I am so sorry. I told you that I was going to try to get together while I was there, but the Super Bowl. When's the Super Bowl, Todd? What's the date? Somebody help me here, because my team was telling me you're asking us to travel on Super Bowl Sunday, or maybe there's a couple playoff games that night, the 29th. I don't know. Colin Kaepernick spoiled me off football, and I have not been able to get back into it. I have not, and I love football, but not a big Roger Goodell fan. Anyway, all right, Todd, thanks, buddy. Yeah, not till February. Okay, so that's not good. Good. Okay, that's how out of touch I am. See, didn't it used to always be in January? Oh well, who cares? But anyway, that's the name of that tune. So let's see, Daryl. I didn't get around to it. I ended up my schedule was back to back to back to back the whole 3 days I was there. But I'm going to be back, Daryl, like I mentioned, on the 29th for that whole next week, and I think we're going to be staying out near our warehouses in Edwardsville, Illinois. So I'm not quite sure where Florissant is there, but like I mentioned, I'll be coming back and forth several times in February and March. So I hope to grab some lunch or dinner with you or something. You're right, Lori. Now Lori's reminded me. So Zane's funeral was on like February 9th, and Super Bowl was February 7th, I think, wasn't it, Lori? In 2012. And Matt, you were here. All of Zane's buddies that came for his funeral, we ended up watching the Super Bowl at Zane's father-in-law's house. That's right. Oh my goodness, it's been almost 7 years. Gosh. Yeah, you're right. February, huh? Yeah, Zane passed on the 31st of January, but they couldn't schedule the funeral until the 9th. It was Tuesday the 9th. Yeah, yeah. So Super Bowl was the 7th, I believe. Wow. All righty. Well, let's see. Hat of the week. Hat of the week. I already spoiled you with the hat of the week. It's the 3rd Infantry Division hat. I have worn this hat maybe more than most for speaking of Zane, but it seemed to fit. I figured if I was going to wear my new 369 shirt, I would also wear the 3rd ID hat. So that is the hat of the week. Yeah, Matt, I know you remember. Yep. Well, it was a sad time, wasn't it, Matt? But it did have a reunion feel to it, I think. At least I felt you guys felt like you were reconnecting, and it had been, 5 years or so since you all were together in Iraq, and a sad circumstance to have a reunion, but I know it sort of had a little bit of that feel to it. All right. Well, let's see. I do have some this week in military history items. By the way, Todd, you're kind of stealthy, you old Marine. You, Todd Hargrove, my friend down near Savannah, sneaky little devil. But good to have you in there, man. Hope you're doing well. Do I look thinner to you there, Todd? You see, I've lost 70 pounds, man. Crazy. I'm gonna get back in that flight suit. All right. Well, let's see. This week in military history. So thanks to my buddy Jimbo Miller, he reminded me of this. He posted this during the week. And on January the 16th, Todd, you may remember this. January the 16th, 1991. I know Steve Shirley does. The Air Force launched Operation Senior Surprise was the official name. But it was called by the personnel, they called it a secret squirrel mission. And that was a mission that launched 7 B-52s carrying 35 air-launched cruise missiles in a 35-hour, 24-minute-long mission. They flew from Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana, all the way to Iraq and launched their missiles and then returned to Barksdale. And, of course, a bunch of refueling along the way. But that became the longest combat mission ever flown. And that may still hold. I know the B-2 flies from Whiteman all the way to Afghanistan, but maybe that may be longer. But this was maybe the longest at the time. January 16th, 1991. Kind of a side note, Lori and I, when we went out to visit Charlotte at Texas A&M, and on our way back, we stopped at at Barksdale, and did the museum there. They have an air museum. They have a B-17 and a whole bunch of planes outside. But they have a whole display inside talking about Operation Senior Surprise, the Secret Squirrel mission, and a lot of memorabilia and stuff. First time I had ever heard about the mission, and that's where I saw it. So when Jimbo posted that, I knew exactly what he was talking about. And then much later, in January of 2017, our son Jackson graduated from basic training. And Lori and I, of course, flew out there for that. And Jackson's grandparents, Stan and Carol, were there. Were there. And Zane's platoon sergeant, Sergeant Travis Loest, was there. He came over from Austin and came to Jackson's graduation. It was fun. We had a good time there. It's been, I guess, 6 years. 6 years? 17. Yeah, 6 years. That was a lot of fun. Man, there's no pride like watching one of your kids graduate from basic training. And we've done that 3 times. So it was a thrill. And hey, Todd, I know your son is a Marine. Were you able to go to the graduation ceremony? I'm pretty sure you did. All right, let's see. What else do we got? That was it for this week in military history. We had at least one visit that I know of, and that was Daryl's. Daryl went to Jefferson Barracks today. He said it was a cold and blustery day, and they had just picked up all of the wreaths yesterday from Wreaths Across America there at Jefferson Barracks. And so Daryl made a visit there today, and I think that was our only cemetery visit this week. And we're sitting at 744 visits to 168 different locations. We've had a flurry of new locations over the last couple of months. Let's see, Lori's got some thank yous in there. That's the next section. So let me add Lori's thank yous in there. Oh, she might have some there. So I'm just going to put 4 total so I can add it up real quick. Lori might have some since she's right there with a bunch of other veterans doing that weekend activity. So Lori had Tim, who I've talked to on the phone, Irene, who's the psychologist there. Her husband's an Army, retired Army Ranger. And let's see. And a couple of others, she said, Army retired, Navy. All right. And then Carl calls out a fellow Air Force veteran and PAX troop, Harvey Milos, passed away. I think I read the obituary, and I think was he 83, guys? Something like that. He was before my time. I never met him. Heard a lot about him, saw a lot of things about him online and stuff, and sad to see him pass. All right, Matt got a thank you in today. Oh, cool. Very good. So your first sergeant's departure opens up a window for you to serve in some leadership capacity. That's awesome. Well, way to go, Matt. So I'm going to add Matt. I'm going to add one dog-faced soldier in there. And increase that by 1. So 1,924 thank yous since we started keeping track. Not too shabby. 5 for the week. I had 2. I had on the activity I went to yesterday, Saturday. I had two veteran friends there that I had the chance to spend some time with. One of them's a young lady, Navy veteran, who I had never met face to face. Finally got a chance to meet her, and she spent some time at Keflavik, Iceland. And then I also got to spend some time with my old Air Force buddy, John Peslowski, who was a PAX flight line troop there at Offutt. We served together there at Offutt and in the late 80s, early 90s. And John worked on the flight line and we're on the softball team together. And wow, he's one of the hardest workers I've ever known. And anyway, he works at my company. I've talked about that before. I found that out about 8-9 years ago, and I try to see him every time I go up there. And we happened to be able to spend the whole day together yesterday, and so it was good to see him. He had a little health scare recently, totally out of the blue. He's about my age, totally out of the blue, no history, no health, and his doctor told him that it was caused by the MNRA vax. What do you think about that? Otherwise healthy and fit guy, and all of a sudden, boom. But thankfully, he has recovered and is doing very well now. But it's crazy. All that happened when he was over in the Netherlands. We deployed him to the Netherlands to do some work for us in our center over there, and all that happened. He had to come back. But anyway. Let's see. So I had those two, Sarah and John. So that gives us, if I add Lori's and Matt's, 4, 5, 6 thank yous. So 1,925 is where we sit on the thank you count. Not too shabby. You guys are real good to play along with me on this harebrained idea. Okay, Jim, thank you. 88 years old. I tell you what, I hope I can make it that long as I'm in good health. And I did see the visitations on the 27th. And I believe it's in Bellevue. Well, none of us are going to live forever. Some of us are going to go sooner than others. But Harvey made it to 88. That's incredible. All right, well, let's see what else we got here. Any organizational updates? Just told you about my Warriors Place. Warriors going to be down there a little bit. Let's see. Oh, I told you about Running to Honor. So if anybody wants to do that with us, you've got several months to register. It's not till July, but it's open for registration. But if anybody gets a hair and they want to participate in the 5K, ask me and I'll tell you how to do it. Should be fun. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I think that's it for the organization updates. We do, Ken, I wouldn't mind if in the chat, when we go to the Heroes Lost or Wounded section, if you could maybe post the full name of your friend and college fellow college student that passed this last week. Ken had a John Tarr, I think they called him JT, if I'm right there, Ken. And he was, I believe, Ken, he was in your commissioning class for ROTC there at, where'd you go, UCF? But yeah, so wishing his family all the best. If he's about Ken's age, he's still a young man. And it's tragic for sure. And commiserations there to you, Ken. And I guess every day that goes by, all of us get closer, but just doesn't make it any better or any easier for sure. But wishing all the best to your colleague JT's family there. Okay, well, let's see. That's about it. Lori will be gone all week. I'll be home all week. I got a gazillion things to do to prepare to be gone the next week. And this fun little project. I'll share more with you guys. If anybody cares, I'll share more with you next time. It's kind of a little harebrained idea I had, and going to achieve a lot of objectives for my team. So we're excited about it, and they're excited about meeting each other. My team is scattered all over the country, and they're new to tech. They're new to the company. They haven't all met each other. They've never been to our corporate headquarters. So we're going to get to do a lot of that with them over the coming months. Lori says, hey, Johnny. Oh, Johnny Evol in there. John, if you're in there, good to have you in there, buddy. One of Zane's best buddies, Johnny Evol. There he is. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Hope all is well. Yeah, so my daughter, Charlotte, the one that went to the FBI Academy, lives in Seattle. She has a young man named Jeffrey who is in my program and reports to me and is learning how to be a pre-sales engineer. He's a nurse by training. Spent a decade as a nurse, and he's getting into tech. And a lot of people here at the company are excited to have somebody that can speak that language and be technical as well. So I'm going to get to see him week after next as well. Thank you, Johnny. I've lost 70 pounds, buddy. How about that? I didn't know it was possible, but that's what happens when you stop eating sugar. That just falls off. So anywho, I did get a really good walk in today. I walk between 3 and 4 miles a day, depending on the route that I take. And I've been doing these same couple of routes since last March when I started walking. And I take the same every day, same one of about 3 different paths that have the same core. Anyway, we live in a really awesome neighborhood, better than I deserve to live in, but there's some trash in the road. And I'm like, why is there trash on the sidewalks and down the road? And now a lot of this trash is not right in front of someone's house, and it's not clear who's responsible for it. But anyway, I take this walk and I see beer cans and Coke bottles and this and that and the other. And I'm like, man, that's just nuts. And so I decided to take a trash bag with me today on my walk, and one of those extension pickers where it's got a claw on the end of it, so I wouldn't have to bend over with my old back. Anyway, so I took that, and on the way back, I picked up an entire trash bag full of trash in about a 1.5 mile stretch. So anywho, the neighborhood's a little bit cleaner today because of my walk. Well, hey, there's my buddy Doc Collier up in Nashville, stopping by to say hello. Yeah, he and I are having lunch tomorrow. Hadn't seen each other probably since COVID. But JT's one of our industry advisors. Speaking of healthcare, he's a medical doctor that is also a technologist. So kind of cool, but he's making a trip down here to Atlanta for some work tomorrow. And well, Doc, as you get closer or whatever, just shoot me a text. Let me know where you're at, roundabout, where, when, and all that stuff. And we'll make sure to connect. All right. Well, let's see. Jim says, how does that coincide with trash pickup? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's trash coming off the trash trucks, but anyway, I'll just pick it up if I see it. All right, gang. Well, I've rambled enough because I'm out of things to talk about, but so good that you guys dropped by here on Sunday nights and listen to me ramble. Sometimes I can hardly take my rambling, but I'm glad we get to talk about Zane and get to talk about all kind of different stuff. And you guys are a blessing to me, and we'll look forward to doing it again. Stay tuned for next week. I'm not quite sure what next week's going to look like because, like I said, I'm flying up to St. Louis on Sunday. I'm just not sure when yet. I haven't decided, but we'll get a speaking of Zane in for sure as we approach the anniversary of his passing on the 31st, and talk more about him. All right, gang. great to see everybody. Have a wonderful week. Make it count, and we'll see everybody down the road. Take care. See if I can find my closing. Here we go.